Tonight, investigators can begin combing through the phone they found next to the shooter's body last Tuesday. A judge has just signed off on the first search warrant related to the tragedy. The move allows the Texas Rangers to download the phone's contents and look for evidence that may explain the gunman's motives. Meanwhile, tonight, Uvalde's mayor is challenging reports that UCISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo is not cooperating with state investigators. KENS 5 reporter Matt Houston is tracking law enforcement's work. He joins us now with the latest. Matt?
Sharon, the school police chief spoke briefly with CNN today. He told them, and I quote, "I am in contact with DPS every day." That's not what the department has said, and now the mayor is weighing in.
UCISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo has lived under scrutiny since DPS head Steve McCraw blamed him for waiting to barge into the classroom and kill the shooter at Robb Elementary. Yesterday, DPS said Arredondo hadn't participated in a follow-up interview and wouldn't return troopers' calls. Today,
it's a source that leaked because I did talk to someone, my own good source, that Mr. Arredondo has talked to the DPS every day and continues to talk to the DPS.
Mayor Don McLaughlin says he's not spoken to Arredondo since the shooting, but that account is in line with the chief's comments to CNN. It further muddles the larger story, and Arredondo only became the main character after DPS's last news conference.
They've had 3 press conferences, and at all 3 press conferences, something has changed.
McLaughlin says he still trusts state investigators, though he says he'd like to get more information out of them.
We have asked for briefings, and we're not getting those briefings.
Today, we asked DPS to affirm what they told us yesterday, that Arredondo hadn't responded to their request for a follow-up interview. We have not heard back. Live on the Northwest Side, I'm Matt Houston, KENS 5.
Thank you, Matt. One of the top questions we've heard over the last week: should the officers who stood in the hallway for about an hour have busted down the door and killed the shooter sooner? KENS 5 anchor Barry Davis took that question to a tactical training specialist.
Based on the information that is available right now, the answer to that is yes.
Thor Eels is the executive director of the National Tactical Officers Association. He says Columbine changed everything. But 20 years later, there's still no national standard in these situations.
The consistent training in active assailant scenario is the number one priority for law enforcement, is to act what we call in idle, in defense of life, particularly the innocents that are unable to secure their safety.
He says Texas mandates active shooter training.
I think the extent of any mistakes is yet to be determined.
The problem right now,
there's been such a change in accuracy of information as it continues to come out that we really need to wait until we have a really clear picture.
Eels says the fact Uvalde is a small town may have contributed to the chaos. A 911 system overwhelmed with calls, more than 100 shots fired, and at least half a dozen law enforcement agencies responding.
When there's constant radio chatter, people are talking over each other on the radios, there's a lot of miscommunication. And so it is not beyond the realm of possibility that some critical information was missed.
So until the Texas Rangers finish their investigation, we don't know what happened. Or according to Eels, more importantly, what didn't.